All right, let's start this off in a pretty specific place, Hastings, Minnesota. And the date? January 29th. Now on the surface, it's just a day. It's cold, it's quiet, the kind of day you don't even think twice about. But what if I told you this exact date is packed with world-changing history? Yeah, let's dig in to how an ordinary day can be, well, anything but.
So what does it actually feel like in Hastings today? Well, I love how a local report from HastingsNow.com put it. They said you should dress like you're heading into a walk-in freezer. You know that feeling? It's that kind of crisp, beautiful, but absolutely brutally cold day.
And hey, they are not kidding. Let's put a number to that walk-in freezer feeling. The wind chill is minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Ouch! That's the kind of cold that just nips at you the second you step outside.
Okay, so besides that biting wind chill, what's the rest of the day looking like for the people in Hastings? Let's check out the forecast.
The forecast is pretty straightforward, really. You've got a high of just 9 degrees, and it's going to drop all the way to -4 tonight. But look at these two details here. 0% chance of any snow or rain, and the winds are super light. So it's just a stable, clear, and really, really cold day. No big surprises, no weather drama.
And you can see how the day is going to play out. It starts below zero, of course. Then the sun comes out midday, gives you a little bit of warmth. Well, if you can call 9 degrees warm. And then, boom, as soon as the sun goes down, the cold comes right back. It's really the textbook definition of a quiet, calm, totally uneventful winter day.
So the advice for anyone out and about in Hastings? Pretty simple. Bundle up. Cover everything. The good news is, with the calm sun, it's actually perfect for those quick in-and-out errands. The main takeaway here is that there's no dangerous weather coming. It's just a deeply cold, very ordinary day.
And you know, a forecast this cold has to come with a bit of local humor, right? There's a fair warning for anyone checking out the view from the Hastings Bridge today. Yeah, you can look, just maybe don't lick anything metal.
Okay, and this is where things get really interesting. We've been zoomed in on this one quiet, frozen day in one town in Minnesota. But now, what happens if we pull the camera way, way back and look at this exact same date, January 29th, but through the lens of history?
Because as it turns out, January 29th is a day of some seriously big new beginnings. We're talking about a day that has literally shaped borders, defined principles, and changed the entire way we move around the planet.
Just look at the scope of this. In a span of just over 30 years, on this one date, January 29th, you have a treaty that completely reshaped the Midwest, the birth of a state based on a huge moral principle, and an invention that, it changed everything. Yeah, a little different from just a quiet, cold day in Hastings, huh?
All right, first up, 1855. The Treaty of Pointe is officially proclaimed. And look, this was not just some piece of paper. This was a massive agreement between the U.S. government and several Ojibwe bands. It ceded huge territories in what we now know as northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. And its legacy, affecting things like land and resource rights, is still being felt today, right back in the same region where we started this whole thing.
Okay, now let's jump forward just 6 years. January 29th pops up again with another huge, foundational moment. And this one is right at the heart of one of the most divisive issues in American history, slavery.
So on this day, in 1861, Kansas officially becomes a state. It's admitted to the Union. But the really critical detail here is how it was admitted, as a free state. This was a massive win for abolitionists. It was a huge turning point after years of brutal conflict in the territory, what was known as Bleeding Kansas. And this all happened just months before the Civil War kicked off.
All right, let's jump again. Another 25 years into the future to a moment of pure, game-changing invention. On this date, the world basically got the official birth certificate for the way we all get around today.
Because on January 29th, 1886, a guy named Benz gets a patent for his vehicle powered by a gas engine. That single piece of paper, that's it. That's the official birth of the automobile. Think about that. An invention that would completely reshape our cities, our economies, really the entire rhythm of how we live our lives.
So, let's bring it all back. On the one hand, you've got this quiet, cold, totally normal morning in Hastings, Minnesota. And on the other, you have a foundational treaty, a state born out of violent conflict and the invention of the automobile. What on earth connects these things?
The connection is so simple, but it's also kind of profound. It's just The date on the calendar. That's it. See, history doesn't wait for some special occasion. It happens on regular, ordinary days. Days that are cold and sunny. Days when most people are just living their lives, completely unaware that the world is fundamentally changing right under their noses.
And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, right? As we're all going about our own routines, on our own quiet, ordinary days, what history is being made right now? What new birth certificates for game-changing ideas are being filed? What new principles are being fought for? All of it probably hidden in plain sight, just beneath the noise of our daily lives.